Well, standing in front of me are the Interactive Arts Trio. And I'm sure you're dying to know exactly what the Interactive Arts Trio does. So we will ask them, what do you do?
Our name is Invisible Flock, and there's three of us, as you can see. And we make a large variety of interactive work, some of which is digital, some of which is more public art orientated, which is about empowering all our participants and our audiences through participation in the work that we make.
And the reason why I'm talking to you today is that they've developed a fascinating project called the Bring the Happy Project. So do please tell us about Bring the Happy Project.
Sure. Bring the Happy is initially was a Leeds-based project that we ran for 3 months at the end of 2010. And we took over disused shop spaces in Leeds City Centre. So initially we started in a shopping centre, and then we shifted down to Kirkgate Market, which is one of the busiest food markets in the whole of Europe, I think. And biggest food market. Indoor market in the whole of Europe. And we ran the project, which was an investigation into the happiness of the city. So we built a giant map of Leeds in 7 blocks, about sort of knee-high, and we asked people to contribute memories or moments of happiness that had taken place in the city at any point in time in their lives. They left us a story, and we asked them to tell us how happy it made them on a scale of 1 to 10. If they said that the story made them happy on a scale of 1 out of 10, we put a little marker on the map that was about that big. And if they said 10 out of 10, we put one that was about that big, and then obviously everything in between. So gradually, over the sort of 2.5 months we ran the map, we created sort of an undulating 3D geography of Leeds' happiness and well-being. And all of that now sits online as a digital map that we've made as well.
Right, and we'll give you the web address of that, of course, alongside this. So tell us a bit more about the experiences that you had when you were meeting the locals and showing them your Bring Me Happy map.
Well, we had a really mixed response, as you'd expect. I'd say probably most people were actually quite welcoming once we talked to them about what we were doing it and why we were doing it. We got a lot of people questioning us as artists and why we were there in kind of a market that, you know, is traditionally a trader's space, which we kind of had to justify the project quite a lot, but I think that was good for us. Also, I think that we got sort of 1,300 people contribute over the 2 months. We were really pleased with.
Yeah, I think it was just the nice thing about the market is that it is a meeting space. That's as well as a trading space where people meet. But it's also I think it gave a good cross section of the community of Leeds as a whole. So it serves a very wide range of the community by the fact that it is still very much although within it there's an element of it being a market that's not quite sure what its place is. It still is there for a lot of people, so a lot of people come for the fish, for the meat, for the veg, and for the ancillaries and stuff like that. So it was really good because you really got a wide range of stories, of experiences, of age groups, of ethnicities, of everything. So in as much as only one place in Leeds could have provided it, I think it was a really good space to get memories from the whole.
And how many people do you think probably encountered the project?
30 to 40,000, possibly more than that. We did get we got the footfall through that door, and it was
about 60,000
more than that.
And
most people, just by its very presence, by the very fact that it didn't look like something that was selling food or anything like that, it garnered interest. People would initially, what is that strange shape that's there? So once the curiosity.
We find people sort of return, so they would ask questions and go away and then come back. So we get a lot of returning traffic. I think a lot of people wanted to go away and think about what their happiest memory was before they wanted to.
But lots of people did give you memories.
People were really, really generous. I think we were quite surprised at how generous actually, and the stories we got, you know, were very personal. Some of them, and some of them will stay with us for a very long time. I think.
We made a policy of not censoring any encounter or anything that was offered was then recorded as was. So even to the point of syntax. Do you know what I mean? If it was given that it was completely grammatically correct, we wouldn't even correct the grammar of it. So whatever was given, even if we didn't agree with it, was kept and taken. So I think people realised very, very early on that they could say whatever they want and it would be accepted.
We had a very interesting encounter with one gentleman who came relatively early on. We were in the market, and who, after after spending some time sort of questioning the idea and seemed very excited about the fact that we would take anything, left a memory which was called Against Islamification. It was an EDL march and a sort of a protest that he'd taken part in, so a racist protest he'd taken part in the city centre, which obviously sits very uncomfortably with our own sort of politics, but we took it because that was the premise of the project, and I think it raises some very interesting questions about how we define happiness in society. And what was very interesting is that 2 weeks later he came back again and asked about his memory. I was like, it's recorded, I showed it was on the map. And he said, can I leave another one? I was like, yeah, of course you can. And the second time the memory that he left was a very beautiful memory about his grandmother. And he remembered when he was a child, and I think he didn't have parents. And his grandmother would bring him down to the market and she'd buy him a cup of coffee, hot chocolate, and they'd sit on the balcony and watch the market pass underneath. And there's a very interesting thing about a very simple moment of happiness juxtaposed with this other sort of very violent political one that he left before, which I think was very illustrative of the project, and I think the complicated nature of happiness when you're sort of trying to define it on a sociological level like that.
So what turned you on to happiness at the beginning?
It's been brewing.
Many things.
Ideas. The project in its latest incarnation was very much a response to what was happening physically on our landscape.
Yeah.
So the response to the idea that there was a lot of messages coming out centrally about it being a broken Britain, and also the recession, and the idea that every day we went into Leeds that you would notice somewhere closing down and a space emptying out, and that maybe there is an artistic response to that, an artistic response to the immediate landscape to that. And even before that, it was in a lot of our work, I've been looking certainly at the ideas of happiness and the concept of happiness and the concept of how you can help people to be, how people can be happy, and how art can actually be in some ways a way of exploring happiness.
I think as well, you ask people about their happiness, there's loads of kind of implicit questions in that. So by asking about happiness, you're asking about a lot of different areas of their life, and I think for us, although it was a project specifically about happiness, it became a lot more than that. It became about place and memory and all sorts really.
And about unhappiness.
And about unhappiness. And a lot of people said to us, why didn't you do a project? Why didn't you do the other one? Didn't you do the unhappy one? We go, well, we're not interested in that, but also I think, like I said, I think you ask about happiness, you also get.
You automatically ask about unhappiness. Absolutely. And a lot of the memories were a reaction to, I'm not happy now, but I was happy then. And that's said just as much as anything else.
You got quite a bit of funding for this from the Arts Council and various other bodies. So I'm just wondering, I know you're very happy with the way this has turned out. And in fact, I bumped into them in the marketplace in Leeds Market, which is why we're now here some months later. But I'd be interested in knowing where you're taking the project next.
Sure, the project exists online at the moment, so you can visit our website or the project's website, which I'm sure will be attached to this video. And the map exists there online at the moment, so it can be viewed. We are re-exhibiting the map in Leeds, which is where the project first happened, in the summer so summer 2011. And then in September, we are re-exhibiting it for a week in the Northern Ballet space. And we are taking the project to a next level, which is we are taking all the memories that have been contributed to us and we're turning them into sort of a celebration or a performance of them, or we're working with some local musicians to turn it into sort of a one-night gala event. But then the project's going to keep rolling, so we're talking at the moment with a lot of producers and other people about expanding the project to other cities and continuing to sort of investigate through the project.
It's kind of an ever-evolving one for us, I think.
Absolutely.
We're not sort of keen to put a stop on it, we're kind of happy for it to hopefully
Continue.
evolve and
Also to
continue.
layer, isn't it? The idea is that you've already got the first layer, which is Leeds, but very interesting to see when you ask that question in somewhere where maybe even the fundamental idea of happiness is completely different. What those responses are, where you find groupings. So it's really nice. It really is the start of the project, and really very much the start of it. Hopefully it'll be the tip of it. It'll be something that runs and changes, no doubt.
So folks, you now know, get along to the Northern Ballet in September, where you'll be able to see the latest invocation of the Bring the Happy project.
And you can still add to it now, actually.
Yeah,
there's still a way, if you go onto the website, there is a way of, if you have had a happy memory in Leeds, of adding it, and it will get added to the database. So it is still collating, still memories.
Great.
Still chugging away.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Victoria. And thank you, Ben.